All right, so I want to create a short video on how to use the bid follow-up queue. So you can see I've got a bid follow-up queue here. There's one for all users here. We got 104, so that looks like there's a lot of items that haven't been followed up on that we should probably be acting on. But I want to show you how to create one and make sure that you understand how they work. So I'm just going to create a fictitious order for myself here. And I always use this as the test product. 1060606, so 3/4 copper 45. And then to quickly move between these screens down here, you can use the Alt and then the letter below it. So I'm going to go to Alt H for header, and I'm just going to put test, ordered by. We always want to put the ordered by, even on a quote or a bid, even for a test. And everything else looks correct, and I'm going to go to the LS status screen. You can see I've created my template here and bid follow-up, and so I'm going to leave it as today's date because I want to show you how it populates. And you want to put something useful here, so don't just put follow-up or call customer or bid follow-up. Put something about the customer. The phone number would be very useful, as well as some information about the order and who the customer is, because you're not going to see the customer name on the bid follow-up queue. You're only going to see the sales order number, the date, and the comment. So put some useful information that when you go into your queue, when it pops up, you can be, oh, okay, that's what that sales order is, that's who the customer is, that's what we talked about. So I'll just put like 3/4 copper 45. Call Scotty to see if he wants to move forward. And I'm going to F12 to save and F12 to escape, and that looks good. And I'm going to F12 one more time. And so you can see it's not here yet, but if I hit the refresh, I'm going to have one item in my bid follow-up queue. So this is what we're talking about, where it makes sense to put some useful information in here. Don't just put follow-up with customer. So I can see here's a sales order number, here's the date, here's when I'm supposed to follow up. Here's me, and then follow-up comment. So if I just put bid follow-up and I had several of these out here, I would have no idea what it is unless I drill into the order. So let's go ahead and edit order. I did a right click. Let me get out of this quick. And I'm going to customize my toolbar because I want to add edit order to my toolbar because I'm going to be using that a lot. And we're going to make that one green, and we're going to make acknowledge. I'm going to go into acknowledge in just a second, but when we acknowledge an order, that pretty much is signaling that they don't want to move forward. So let's add that. Oh, it's like right on the cusp. It won't let me save it. There we go. Okay, so now I've got acknowledge and edit order. So I'm going to go into edit this order, and I'm going to use my Alt S to get to the status screen where I can go to my bid follow-up. And here's where I can edit it. So I'm going to change the date. So maybe I called the customer, hey, yeah, I'm trying to get with my customer and I don't know if I got the job yet. So I'm going to call them on Thursday. Can you touch base with me on Friday? Let's assume that this is Monday and not Thursday. So Friday would be the 19th. So I'm going to change this date to 11/19, and I'm going to leave acknowledged as no. I'm going to leave all these comments here because I want to see a log of what I discussed with the customer. So I'm going to usually start out, best practice, start out with the date of when you're updating it. So I'm going to say 11/18. I called the customer. They aren't ready yet. Call back on Friday. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to save it. And then when I get out, and I get out of here, I moved the date out, so when I update this, it's going to show that there's 0, but let's just assume that if I go in here and automatically now today is Friday, we woke up, we came into work, and here we are, and now we see this when we log in. So the first comment is here. The second comment on 11/18, I called the customer, they aren't ready yet, call back on Friday. Well, today's 11/19. If we look at this little calendar, that's a Friday. So now I'm going to call the customer. And I call the customer and they want to order. So I go ahead and place the order. it's going to automatically remove this bid follow-up because it's not in a bid anymore. The status is, sorry about that, this is part 2 of bid follow-ups. So we got cut off as just we were saying, if you convert this to an order, it's going to come off of your bid follow-up queue. So we call the customer, and just to wrap this up, we call the customer and they say, you know what, I didn't get the job, someone else got the job, I'm not going to need this, or whatever it may be, I don't want to move forward. If you hit acknowledge, that's essentially signaling that you're not going to move forward, you're not going to follow up with the customer anymore, it's a done deal, it's dead. So if you go ahead and acknowledge it and we update, it's gone off my bid follow-up, so you don't need to continue acting on that or calling the customer. Just to recap, you go into the sales order and on the status screen is where you have your bid follow-up options, and that's where you can create the queue. So as bid follow-up still exists, so we can see all the notes of that we were following up with the customer, but since it's acknowledged, it's gone away, right? It's not going to show up on my bid follow-up queue any longer. So that's how we utilize it. Again, encourage you to customize your toolbars, encourage you to use the bid follow-up, and make sure you're putting useful information in there about what you want to talk to the customer about when that bid follow-up does repopulate on your bid follow-up queue. If you have questions, you know how to reach me. Thanks.